Hi, this is Robot Tina.
And this is Normal Mary.
And this is Bird Barf.
Yay!
Yay! So I'm told I sound weird because I'm on a phone, so sorry that I sound weird. But it's out of my control, so deal with it.
I'm recording Tina straight from her phone, or from my phone onto the recording thing we use. So if it sounds really weird, whatever, but there's no other way we have time to do this tonight. So
we're very high-tech here at Bird Barf podcast. So today we're going to very quickly talk about how much we hated the X-Files new revival season thing, majigger. And I hated it more progressively as it went on. I think we talked about in the first episode that I didn't really like it that much, and I think you liked it a lot more than I did. And then the second episode I didn't hate, and then the third episode I thought was funny, and then the fourth, fifth, and sixth episode I wanted to punch myself in the face repeatedly throughout all of them for various reasons.
Yeah, I'm just so disappointed because, like we said, I was cautiously optimistic after the first one. The second one seemed promising as well. So, because the first one was called My Struggle. That one was interesting. Founder's Mutation was a continuation of My Struggle in its own way. That was the one about the sort of investigating the fact that kids, like ostensibly William, Mulder and Scully's son, have forced mutations. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be a really interesting flow to this season. I can do this. It's a bit rushed, but okay. And then we get Mulder and Scully meet the weremonster, which was funny.
Yeah, I think the only reason I liked that, and it's obviously the case was kind of stupid, but it's I just appreciated the humor of it, and I appreciate it more now that I saw how shitty the other episodes were. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's by Darren Morgan,
At the same time, I just feel like there wasn't time in a 6-episode series for them to do just complete stupid, silly one-off.
No.
I just don't really know. I think that they just went in the wrong direction with this miniseries. I think that they should have just done 6 consecutive story episodes that all pertain to the same exact story and overarching story instead of the first one and then possibly sort of the second one and then the last one with those 2 or 3 one-offs in the middle. It just didn't make sense, and it was they were trying to do too much in a 6-episode series.
Yeah.
Instead of just, I think they were doing what they would do in a full season, but they only had 6 episodes, so they didn't have time to do that. If you have 21 episodes or 22 episodes like they usually did, okay, great, you can throw a funny one-off in there and the monster of the week and a couple, or 10 overarching, but you can't do that when you only have 6 because you can't split it up evenly like that, which is what I think they tried to do. But it just didn't work. At least I didn't think it worked. And it seems like that's the overwhelming opinion of people, is that it just didn't really do much for anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you look, because I've got Wikipedia up, because I don't remember our episode titles, but if you look at, the U.S. millions of viewers, the first episode got 16 million viewers, and by the time we got down to My Struggle 2, the final episode, it had 7.6. And it's just and that was a deserved undoing, because it was just and the thing is, all these people should have known better. All of the writers and the directors, I mean, James Wong, Glenn Morgan, Darren Morgan, Chris Carter, he needs to not. It's just they didn't. It's they were doing what they thought was the X-Files, but wasn't, and it wasn't what we wanted. Yeah. My Struggle 2 should have been episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because it's the stuff that happens in that episode, it's so rushed, it's so fast. Someone called the bits between Scully and the horrible Agent Einstein the worst episode of House that's ever been. And it's just I didn't... None of it.
And that's hilarious, but also, like, offensive because I loved House, and, like, it was calling it the worst episode of House, or, like, worst possible episode of House is, like, doing it way more justice than it deserves, because it was so bad. It was so bad. From the very beginning, the monologue of, like, Scully talking really slowly was so painful. It was awful.
I mean, it felt, that part I actually was not bothered by, because that was how they started several seasons, or ended several seasons. I know specifically, what was it? Whoever's texting needs to stop, but because it's making Tina vibrate. But from, I think from season like 6 into 7, you know, she did that a lot. There were a lot of Scully voiceovers. I'm like, okay, and it was a parallel for having David Duchovny open it, but it was just like, they didn't.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I don't really care if they've done it in the past. I did not. It felt so like.
It's just, it was, I feel like they were trying to capture something that they lost anyway. And the thing was, it was
but I feel like that's what they kept doing, and it kept failing. Like, they did that with that. They did it with, like, the whole, like, the emotional, like, oh, Scully's, and sorry, this is a big spoiler if you haven't, you know, watched season, but Scully's mother died, so, like, we need to give this drama, and we need to give it humor. Like,
well, that was the other thing. It's like, if you're gonna go for all of that nostalgia, like, they had so many cameos for people that were in there for 10 seconds. Don't bring back Scully's mother to have her die after one sentence. Don't bring back the lone gunman when, if you blink in the scene that they're in, you miss them.
Yeah.
I still don't think I saw
like
Byers.
And when they brought back Reyes, that was the dumbest thing ever.
She's such a cool character, and they're just like, oh yeah, so she was holding the cigarette-smoking man's cigarettes for him for 10 years? Like, what?
Right. And getting, like, weird sexual innuendos thrown at her. It's like, no, this is uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah. And I mean, it's literally, and again, giant spoiler, we are not spoiler-free here. Basically, it's the cigarette-smoking man deciding that we need to force an extinction because we've damaged the earth. Like, he literally wants all the kids to get off his lawn. Every single one of them.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding?
Well, and he, like, really desperately wants to save Mulder's life, and it's just like,
except not really. Because Mulder shows up, and then he's just like, like, he comes staggering out to the porch with a gun, and is just like, tell him I said bye. It's like, what the freaking, what?
Well, yeah.
Like, what?
He loves, and, like, I really hated when Reyes told, like, he loves Mulder.
No, he doesn't.
What are you talking about?
It's like, show me where. It's so dumb. And it's just like...
And like the whole, like, vague, like, when Reyes called Scully on the phone and was like, I'm someone that you've helped in the past. And it's like, you guys worked with each other for 3 years. What the fuck?
Well, and it's like, too, just like,
yeah, you know your partner for a while.
Who would know who that character is? Like, if you've not watched the original series and you're like, I'll just give this a shot, you're going to be, or if you didn't watch to the end, you'd be like, who the hell is this character? Reyes was really important, because the thing that they should have done with Reyes was the fact that if anyone's going to know where William is, it's her. She's the one who helped Scully have the baby, and she's the one who, like, went behind the scenes and took care of it and kind of organized the whole thing. So it's like, when they said they were bringing Reyes, because William has been this whole overarching thing, everyone's staring off into the sunset thinking about William. Like, you're gonna bring Reyes back. She is the person who's going to know this, and you're just like, never mind. Maybe he's flying spaceships. Like, what the fucking, what?
Yeah, it was just so, there were just so many things wrong. And I just, but even, and I'm going to go back to episode 5, because the whole, we're going to have a terrorist, like, can we not, with the X-Files, like, every other show is covering the Arab terrorists. It's pretty covered. We get it, you know, there are Arab terrorists, like, can we not, with the X-Files? There are 6 episodes, do you really need to cover that?
Yeah, I don't come to the X-Files for legitimate political, like, fear-mongering.
Right. It's just, no. It's like, no, enough. No. Like, I watched Homeland, I get it enough with that, and it's appropriate in that show, so we don't need it in every other show.
Unless all the Arab terrorists on the planet are secretly aliens, no.
Right. Right, yeah. No, it was just, yeah. That was bad, and just, like, it felt like, let me hit you in the face with, like, a moral of the story type thing, and it was just so painful. In addition to Mulder's, like, drug trip, which was, like, unnecessary and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the season finale, which was just fucking atrocious. It was just so bad. Like, from start to finish, I just hated it.
Well,
like, I can't believe this is happening.
And well, like, sort of
and the ending was just terrible.
And, like, what was kind of terrible, too, is that, like, throughout several of these, Scully gets kind of shoved to the back burner. Like, she's just sort of, like, it's primarily him in a couple of these, right? Like, she's off doing some weird thing. But, like, in my struggle, suddenly it's all Scully, and Mulder spends the entire episode asleep, except when he's kickboxing in his living room.
Yeah.
That was more action than I've ever seen Fox Mulder have.
Well, it was, like, in the entire, like, I don't understand why they would, for the season finale, decide that it would be good to have Mulder and Scully, sorry for that weird match of their names, like, separated and, like, partnered with, like, Scully partnered with stupid fucking dumb Einstein, like, wannabe Scully, but failing miserably. And
what's his name,
Mulder
Miller?
asleep in a van. It's like, no, because the only thing that was, like, redeeming about some of these episodes was, like, Mulder and Scully's interactions. And
yeah.
Only sometimes, only moments, but, like, that was one of the only redeeming things about the whole series, and for the season finale, you decide to completely separate them.
Well, and, like, too, the whole thing about
Mulder sleep in a van, or car.
And the thing is, too, like, I hated Einstein and Miller. I hated them. It's like, you bring back the X-Files, and then you shove these new characters down our throat that nobody cares about, but Skinner's just kind of sitting there in his office. Bring Skinner in. Why was Skinner, like, that was one of the good things about the second movie, which is very contentious and should be the subject of its own discussion someday. But, like, Skinner's in it. Like, he shows up, he's with Scully for a while when they're trying to figure out where Mulder is about to get his head stitched onto a dog or whatever was going to happen. But it's like, you know, it's exciting. You're like, oh, it's Skinner, because Skinner is great. But in this one, instead, it's literally everybody's just a casual cameo. And at least he got a couple sentences, but it's like, and half the time, the tone was weird. Like, he was either really pissed off or like, I'm so glad you're here. And then we're like, the world is going to end, but let's have fun in the basement office. It's just, it was all over the map. There was it felt like they forgot what an outline was. Like, the middle 3, 4, and 5 should just have been gone. I don't want Maggie Scully to be dead. Like, she's at home somewhere. It doesn't matter. I don't care about Charlie. What the fucking, you know? So it's like, instead, you know, what's the name of the guy from The Soup? Joe McHale. Like, he was interesting in the first episode, minus the fact that I don't know why anybody is taking him seriously at all. But it's like, and then all of a sudden he just shows up to, like, look sick in the final episode. It's like, what? If you're going to introduce...
They started off like he was going to have a much larger part in the series, and then he just completely disappeared, and Mulder and Scully were off, you know, solving these other stupid cases that had nothing to do with the, like, the overarching story of the end of the fucking world. Yeah. And then, like, the other thing that was just annoying in the finale, too, is, like, Scully just immediately jumps to, we all have, like, alien DNA in us, and we all are gonna die and get sick because of this one thing, and it's, like, just completely just, like, assumed the worst from, like, one guy being sick, and then, like, assumed everything wrong, except that the world still was ending, and so, like, then needed to figure it out, and then was going to save the world by, like, synthesizing her DNA into an IV bag, and apparently enough of it.
Water and some piece of her hair, yeah.
And just, like, is walking down the street, you know,
it was the fastest scientific progress.
Hospital.
Yeah. Fastest scientific progress I've ever heard of. And then she's also stopping rioters, just casually. She's like, no, everybody stop. And, like, the rioters are just like, okay. Like, oh, is that how that works?
Right, and she knows at what point someone's too sick for her magical IV bags to work, and of course Mulder was too sick, and in comes the human-run UFO.
Here,
like, why?
I swear to God, if that's William driving it, I'm gonna, like, flip my. I'm gonna cry. That's what I'm assuming it is. It's like, hey, Mom, you never call. You come only when your father has the plague. Like, what? I keep saying that, but what?
I forgot, like, ages, and I forgot how far into the future, how old William was going to be for a second. I thought they were going to make the stupid agent the son, and I was going to, like, have a heart attack. But and then I was like, oh wait, he's like too old for that. But I was just
that
like,
would have been the
for a
worst.
minute, I forgot.
Oh my god, they had like identical twins. They just spliced apart. It's twins. I think the other thing that really annoyed me was they really forgot how to write Scully. And, like, people were going after Gillian Anderson. They're like, oh, her acting, oh, her face. Like, no, the writing, like, I don't blame her for looking, like, uncomfortable because the writing was not good for her. It's like they forgot the fact that, you know, Scully has belief. She believes in, like, God or whatever. But there's a different thing between having, like, faith and blind faith in everything ever. Like you said, she goes after every possible, like, oh, it could be, it's got to be this thing. Like, she just goes after these things and decides it's what they are. And it's like she feels like some new age, like, whack job.
Right, she does. Yeah, it wasn't Scully. It wasn't the Scully of the old series at all. And it's like, okay. But then even with Mulder, they had him, like, all over the place, too.
Yeah.
Like, one minute he was like, I want to believe, but, like, I can't. And then, like, another minute he's believing in everything ever, like, this giant conspiracy. And it's like, which one is it? Because are you, like, jaded and you don't, like, or are you so old and Mulder willing to believe in everything? Because you can't be both. Like, there's no such thing as both. There's no, like, happy medium of the complete opposites, like, that you're showing right now. That doesn't make sense.
What happened to the kids with the ears growing, like, out of their faces?
I don't know. I don't even remember that.
Because she's, like, working in that special children's ward for kids with, like, weird events, and you're made to think it's gonna matter, and then it just goes away. Like that doctor at the beginning, Mulder's informant, who's like, I want to tell you, but you have to guess everything. Where did he go? Like, isn't this the moment where he should be coming out and being like, aha? Like, what?
Well, maybe he would have, but Mulder was asleep in the car the entire time.
He just kept calling him, and Mulder didn't pick up, so he was like, whatever.
Yeah, maybe it was like a really bad Verizon commercial, and Mulder couldn't hear him now, and so, just hung up.
You should break up with Sprint. It's stopping Mulder from getting phone calls from doctor informant. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like
there were, like, a lot of missed, I don't know, but I didn't even, you just asked these questions, and I never even thought of them, so I was so angry at how bad it was. Like, it didn't even occur to me there was all these, like, other plot holes, because I was like, this is dumb, I don't even care about the plot. It's so stupid.
I feel like Chris Carter did this deliberately because he wanted to waste time, because he wants to angle for more episodes. Like, I feel like this entire thing was...
But that was, I really hope not, because, like, that's such a misguided...
Yeah.
thing to do, because it's like, why wouldn't you just do 6 really solid storylines, and then you can still end it in a cliffhanger, and then people will have been excited and into it, and then wanted to see more. As it is, everybody's like, this is fucking atrocious. The ratings tanked apparently, according to what you had just said, which I didn't even realize because I didn't look it up. But and now it's like, well, nobody's gonna want to pick it up again because it's fucking terrible.
It's just so dumb, and it's just, I really think, because he was saying something, he's like, I think X-Files fans want more. It's like, X-Files fans wanted a series. Like, we didn't want this weird, whatever it is, but I don't know. So we'll have to wait if they're going to suddenly be like, we're going to have a movie, or we're going to have another series. I'm sure they're going to try, but this was so disappointing.
Yeah, after watching this, I don't even know that I would want to give it another try, to be honest.
I would, just because I've been watching this for so long. It's like, fine, give me something, but I think right now I'm going to go and read the 10th season comic series and see how that does, because I read the first couple, collections of them, and they weren't bad. And I was kind of thinking that was what this was going to be, and then it was this instead. So,
yeah.
We'll see.
I guess if we got more, I would just, I'm going to actually have to trust, I'm not going to watch, I'll wait till you watch it and tell me whether or not I should. Or I'll just pay attention to reviews, because they actually, I thought people were being before I had watched it.
Yeah, they seem super harsh.
Reviews, I thought people were going to be harsh, or that I wouldn't agree, and really they were not being harsh.
Fascinatingly,
really that bad.
They were correct, but. So anyway, but yeah, so those were our feelings on the X-Files. We were not very fond of it. It let us down. Tina violently hated it. I'm just kind of sad. Let us know what you think. We're curious. Overall, we've seen a lot of negative views, so if you thought it was good, let us know what it was you liked. We're looking for somebody who thinks that. We're just interested to know what everyone thought. So, but yeah, the truth is not in that 6-episode miniseries.
Yeah, what she said. Thanks for listening. Bye from Robot Tina.
Bye from Human Mary.